there's some like viral video that comes out of Jeff Bridges just doing something like really fucking stupid and weird on the internet. Like he lights a fart on fire and ignites like a ring of fire that someone drives a car through, or something like that. Something totally ridiculous, and you wouldn't forget it because you're like, hey, remember that video where Jeff Bridges set his fart on fire and shit? You'd be like, how could I forget, right? Like when I go and watch The Big Lebowski, part of me would be like, hey, that's Jeff Bridges. He lit his fucking asshole on fire, but it still wouldn't change my enjoyment of The Big Lebowski. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, well, yes, part of me in the back of my mind would be like, man, Kevin Spacey, he said he was gay after fucking a bunch of dudes like who didn't have his consent. But hey, it's fucking, American Beauty, whatever the fuck.
I mean, to be fair though, number one, if fucking Jeff Bridges did that, I would be like, well, fuck, he deserves that. He deserves an Oscar more for that than Crazy Heart. And number two, it's just like you watch him as in The Big Lebowski, and you're already laughing anyways. You're just like, well, we know the dude can fucking light his fucking farts on fire too. Like,
yeah,
like shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Oh man.
So I mean, there's a big difference between like theoretically like lighting a fucking fart on fire and making some goofy viral video, than like having like this reputation of like hey, I just verbally, mentally, physically abuse women. Like, if there was something like that, like, yeah, it'd be tough to watch The Big Lebowski.
I don't know if I gotta say, I don't know if it would be tough for me to watch. I mean, I would have that little thing. Like I said, it would be sort of the same little thing in the back of my mind that would spring up. Like, I have that association of that's that person who did that thing. And in this case, yes, that would be a very horrible thing. But at the same time, like, I'm watching this person not because I agree with what they do in their personal life. I'm watching this person because of what they're doing in their professional life and what I'm seeing on screen. I'm appreciating them for their talent. I don't think that gives anybody carte blanche to just do whatever the fuck they want. And if they do something really serious and heinous, then yes, they should absolutely pay for that. But at the same time, until it's proven that we know for a fact this should happen, then like I don't agree with this. Like, oh, that's it, they're done, cancel them.
And man, like, here, I'll give you another example. And I don't know if you're a fan of this person or not, but Nikki Sixx.
Mm-hmm.
Fan of Motley Crue at all, or 6 a.m. or?
Not really. I'll take them. I'll leave them. But you know my feelings on the Crew.
You're not a fan, I know.
Not so much.
No.
I don't hate them, but they're just not my favorite.
No. Which, okay. So there was a video that came out. I want to say it was like mid to late 90s or something like that, where there's a video of Nikki Sixx on stage just unloading on a security guard at a concert. Basically calls him the N-word. Okay.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, not cool. So I tend to look at like, okay, what has he done like since then? Like, what have you done to like redeem yourself? Because that's a big thing. I'm a big fan of redemption. There's some people that are beyond that, but I mean, hell, we fucking made a script about that shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So since then, he's gotten cleaned up from drugs. He's been happily married. He's started a charity for like runaway kids. He's really like cleaned up his act, and he's a big advocate for like runaway children, and like I think his charity is called like Running Wild in the Night or something like that. And like they raise money to take in like abandoned kids or kids that like ran away from like abusive situations and like feel like they have no place to go and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, you know what, man? Like, you've done good.
Yeah, although that still doesn't necessarily speak to him not being potentially racist anymore. But
true.
For all we know, his organization is like, yes, we let in disenfranchised or kids who are coming from abuse situations, except for those black kids. Like for all we know.
I mean,
oh, welcome. Oh, except for you. Hang on.
Yeah, it's like, hang on.
I'm still Nikki Sixx. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, but I'm at least like with the mindset of like, okay, you know what? He's changed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's done better.
Mm-hmm.
Like he realized that there was a problem. Fuck, I'm too fucked up on drugs. This cost me a marriage. Fucking the band's fucking falling apart and whatnot. And just like look at him now. He's got 2 New York Times best-selling books. He's got side project band. He's still got Motley Crue touring. Supposed to be touring fucking stadiums. So the guy, he's doing better. And yeah, well, it's inexcusable to fucking use the N-word on somebody. It's like, okay, I can at least see you're doing something to better yourself.
Yeah.
So, obviously not excusable.
I think you're one of the few who are willing to acknowledge that, or I don't know, but like it seems like there are a lot of people who are not willing to acknowledge that once someone has done something wrong, it's sort of like, okay, that's it, you're done. But it's almost like it doesn't acknowledge the fact that people can change, and people most certainly can and do. Some people don't. Some people, once an asshole, always an asshole. But I think for me, another problem with just canceling someone is that, like, what if they have a change of heart and things change, and then what? Like, you're not going to give them a second chance or a third chance or whatever it is. Like, I feel like you said, people should be redeemable. People are redeemable. So why not? Why is it like just shut them down, like one strike and you're out? Like, that's not really fair.
I mean, to be fair, there are people out there that would say like, oh, well, he's just doing this to rehab his image and whatnot. Like, if you saw like Kevin Spacey doing like charity work, you'd be like, he's just trying to rehab his image and whatnot. He's still and it's like, yeah. Like,
but if his intentions are legit, though, I think you can tell the difference. I think most people can tell the difference when someone's doing something because it's coming from their heart versus like, hey, I'm just trying to. Look at me, kissing babies and shaking hands and shit like that. Like, I think it comes off as disingenuous when people are being disingenuous.
I don't know though, man. If it's Kevin Spacey and he's kissing babies, it's like, no, let's not do that, Kevin.
I'm a proud gay man. Like, no, not now, Kevin. Jesus Christ.
Wrong time, Kevin. Jesus.
We've been through this. Didn't you learn last time? Come on.
But yeah. I don't know. It's just like the whole cancel culture thing. It's like I'm not a fan of that whole like terminology and whatnot because it's like, well, no, you fucked up. You face your consequences. It's like
but I agree with facing consequences. I just don't agree with outright canceling someone and making it like that's it. Like you've lost your chance and now you're done. It's like because people do really heinous shit, but people also change. And also, some of the times that this is happening, like right now with Manson, again, it's not proven yet. There's nothing that's come out as hard evidence to show that it's actually legit. And again, I'm not saying that it didn't, but I don't want to accuse someone of being a racist or a rapist or anything terrible unless I'm pretty goddamn sure about it. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in the cancel culture. In cancel culture.
Try it again.
A lot of people like in cancel culture mentality are just like, too bad, so sad. You fucked up. It's over. And it's just like, I don't think that's such a very like toxic way to think about things. And I don't know. I'm not excusing people who do shit. I think that people need to be capable of separating out the good and the bad from people, because at the end of the day, there's something probably pretty shitty about all of us, or something shitty at least about all of us. And maybe it doesn't make us cancel worthy, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I tell you though, man, this would be a good opportunity to plug something. There is somebody that we can actually talk to about this, and that is Braden, who's going to be coming on the show in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Because all his years of working in radio, he was actually on Manson's tour bus. Like,
really?
He actually kind of tweeted about this. Like, he didn't go into like great detail about anything about that, but like we can certainly talk to him about it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear if he has any inside story. Maybe he can't say anything. Who knows? But
I doubt it's like he can't say anything. Like, I don't think they had him sign like an NDA or something like that. Like, oh, you can't talk about what happened on the bus.
What happens on the bus stays on the bus.
Yeah, I don't think it was a situation like that. So we can definitely ask him about that when that happens. Also, to kind of just plug his show, he has an afternoon show on Indie 617 every Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you can go to indie617.com, listen to it there, or just search Indie 617. And for anybody saying that, oh, like rock is dead or music is dead or blah 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 blah, like plays a lot of good like independent bands.
Mm.
So, anybody that's like, oh, this music's dead, like, well, fuck yourself. You're not looking. And
Music it takes a lot for a music form to die. I will admit that rock is hurting these days, but I think kind of all music is hurting these days, right? I mean, there's no performance going on, so who's really
true.
doing all that well? And I mean, everything kind of comes and goes in phases, right? I mean, everything has its time and place.
True, but I was actually listening to an interview with Eddie Trunk and Andy Biersack from Black Veil Brides. And like he brought up the point. He's like, "All right, Eddie, look, you're a New York Giants fan, right?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, okay, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan." He's like, "They've been terrible for years, like since my entire life. They've been terrible." He's like, "Now," he's like, "Picture like the worst Bengals team you've ever seen and the worst Giants lineup you've ever seen and whatnot, and picture like that's the only game that you're watching, like just these two teams going at it, just the worst of the worst." And he says, "If you watch that, chances are you're probably going to be looking at that and going, man, nobody knows how to play football anymore." He's like, well, you're wrong because you're not seeing these other games that are going on. So he's like, it's out there. You have to look for it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He seems like.
I mean, it's sort of like it sort of surprises me that like my guitar teacher makes a pretty decent living, and he's a classical guitarist. So like, for as much as you could say like rock is dead, imagine classical. How dead is classical? How many people listen to classical, right?
Sure.
But he's making a living as a classical musician. Or it's like that old joke about like what's the difference between a rock guitarist and a jazz guitarist? Have you ever heard that joke?
No.
Okay, a rock guitarist plays 3 chords in front of thousands of people. A jazz guitarist plays thousands of chords in front of 3 people. But that's the thing, man. Like, it takes a lot of skill and talent to be a jazz or a classical guitarist, but how in demand are those music styles? And yet, if you look hard enough, there are people who are very accomplished in those musical genres. Like, opera still exists. Like, just because we in our circle don't listen to it doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who appreciate it. So,
yeah.
No, it takes an awful lot for an art form to die completely, but rock is most certainly not dead. It's a little hurting, but it's not dead.
No, I mean, disco.
They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe it.
I mean, are you just trying to get
heart of rock and roll is still beating?
Please stop doing that before you get Huey Lewis and the News canceled.
Or we get a copyright strike for me poorly singing Huey Lewis.
Yeah, like we're not going to copyright strike you for the song itself, but just because holy shit, you were bad at this. Holy
good lord!
Like good Christ.
Principle.
like look,
you guys said earlier in your podcast, people need to be held accountable for their fucking thing. So here you go. You're being held accountable.
Like you're going to music jail. Like that's it. Like. You don't get a lawyer.
You like I didn't do anything. Like you were on the show with him. You're guilty by association. You let this happen.
Like you don't get a lawyer. You don't get anything like that. You're just going straight to jail.
Like you just go.
Like you're terrible. You're terrible.
Oh man.
Oh fucking.
I do believe the heart of rock and roll is still beating though.
Really going back to that?
Mm-hmm.
I love you for that.
Oh man.
Yeah, but and it's out there. I mean, it's almost like Easter eggs at this point.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I kind of like listening to UMass Lowell Station from time to time. I don't do it all that often, but every once in a while they'll play something that's like you never heard it before. It's like some indie band or something. And you're like, oh shit, what's that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or I don't know, sometimes you just run into shit like from watching stuff online or whatever. Someone's into a band and you're like, oh, I never heard of them before. And you kind of go down the rabbit hole and you never know what you can find just by exploring.
Yeah. I mean, shit, there was a time where I was just like, fucking, what the fuck is Black Veil Brides and whatnot? Like, I saw one of their videos for, I think it was like Fallen Angels. Like, I saw the video at like a Hot Topic. I couldn't hear the song, but I was like, this seems kind of cool, I guess, but when I hear the song, I heard the song, I was like, oh shit, this is pretty fucking good. All right.
Yeah.
I remember going to see, God, who was it? There was a show, I think it was at, like, Lupo's in Providence, and it was, like boy